Welcome back to Quantreef.com. XRP sitting right at 1.0813, just under a cluster of resistance that's been capping it for a bit. This is one of those tight, coiled zones, so let's run through liquidity, support and resistance, VWAP, Fibonacci, fair value gaps, positioning, and where this likely goes over the next several hours. Price is at 1.0813, and structure here reads neutral leaning cautious. The grade card prints an N of 82 with an HTS of 61, and the layers show trend and structure scoring strong near 80, but volatility is soft at 29 and macro is a flat 50. That mismatch is exactly why nobody has firm control right now. Trend wants up, but the broader backdrop isn't confirming it. Session VWAP and both anchored VWAPs from the swing high and low are all sitting around 1.07, and price trading above all three at 1.0813 tells you buyers have been willing to pay a premium to that value area. That's normally a mild bullish tell, acceptance above value, but with price barely 0.5% past it, this isn't a runaway move yet, it's more of a test. The liquidation map shows two fairly balanced pools. Upside sits at 1.099, about 1.6% away, with roughly 16.8 billion in notional resting there. That's the bigger magnet on paper. Downside is at 1.061, just under 2% away, with about 16 billion behind it. Splits close to 50-50, 51 up versus 49 down, so neither side has a clear gravitational edge yet. Markets tend to drift toward whichever wall builds first, sweep it, then look to reverse, so watch which one gets tapped. On the panel right now, the only resistance printed above price is the stop-loss level at 1.08151, that's tight, just a few ticks up, so a quick wick through it wouldn't be surprising. Below, you've got the 1-hour swing high at 1.0717 acting as first support, then target 1 at 1.0562. Target 2 at 1.03482, and target 3 at 1.01344. Given how close that stop level sits above, I'd lean toward the downside supports getting tested first if momentum stalls, with a break back below the 1-hour swing high invalidating the near-term bullish red. Above price, there's a daily bear gap running from 1.0706 up to 1.0955, and it's almost entirely filled already at 98%, so not much magnet left there. More interesting is the 4-hour bear gap from 1.096 up to 1.1039, completely unfilled, and with an 87% revisit rate on this timeframe. That's a real draw. Below, there's a 4-hour bull gap between 1.0622 and 1.077, 96% filled already, so it's mostly done its job. Price is sitting inside the retracement of the 4-hour swing from 1.0467 up to 1.0928, hugging the 0.382 level at 1.0752, less than 1% away. That's the level to watch. Holding above it keeps the pullback shallow and bullish leaning. Losing it opens the door toward the 0.5 at 1.0697 and beyond. On the upside, the 1.272 extension near 1.1053 lines up close to that 4-hour fair value gap I mentioned. The layered read is genuinely mixed. Trend and structure is strong at 79.9, and institutional positioning is even stronger at 73.2, that's the bullish side of the ledger. But statistical volatility is weak at 29.2, and macro regime sits flat at 50, which drags the composite down. Order flow and liquidity map is middling at 52. Put together, that's the N82, HTS 61 printed on the card, decent readiness, but the gap to a truly high conviction setup keeps this graded neutral overall. Retail is heavily long here at 73.14%, and interestingly the top accounts are even longer at 76.91%, though top traders' position-weighted long share is a bit lower at 62.71%. The 4-hour taker flow is almost even, 51.2% long versus 48.8% short, with 0.17 billion in long dollar volume against 0.16 billion short. With that much long exposure stacked from both retail and top accounts, a squeeze lower into those downside pools would likely hurt more participants than a move up. Given the stop level sitting just above price at 1.08151, and the unfilled 4-hour gap up near 1.1 and the liquidity wall at 1.099, there's a real pull higher first. A sweep through that stop could run price into the gap before sellers step back in. If that fails and price rolls over, the 1-hour swing high at 1.0717 and the 0.382 fib become the next checkpoints, with the downside liquidity pool near 1.061 as the deeper magnet. Worth remembering, XRP largely takes its cues from Bitcoin, so whichever way Bitcoin's own liquidity resolves can override this setup entirely. Check that book before leaning either direction here. The bullish case wants a clean hold above the 0.382 fib and the 1.0717 swing high, with confirmation coming from a push through the tight stop cluster into that unfilled 4-hour gap, invalidated on a close back below 1.061. The published long setup uses entry near 1.061 with a stop at 1.04, targeting 1.069, 1.083, and 1.084. The short setup fades a sweep of 1.099, stop at 1.13, with targets down at 1.0562, 1.035, and 1.013. Right now XRP's parked at a real decision point, and whichever side takes the next liquidity pool likely dictates the next real leg. If this kind of layered read is useful, drop a like and subscribe. Quantreef.com runs this same 9-layer structure, probability, and liquidity breakdown across more than 100 coins, and there's a 7-day trial if you want to dig deeper. This is for educational purposes only, not financial advice.